Hey guys, welcome back. Basil, what's up, everybody? Guys, thank you so much, everyone who watched last week's episode. It was a great episode, Basil. You killed it.
That was awesome.
That was the first ever T squared Tamers talk, so that'd be 2 squared. 4,
Sure.
It was 4 Tamers. And this, thanks to Jesse, kicking butt, is the first 3 Tamers talk episode, everybody.
Oh,
Jesse
in
has
the building.
He has been hard at work with all of his cameras, the microphones, the sound systems, just so he could say hi every now and then and be more involved with us.
Hi every now and then.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, every time you see Basil Jeff or Jeff Jordan or whatever the case, Jesse is always
just right there.
right across the way there. But now he can just peep in and tell us that we're idiots every now and then.
Yeah. You guys
So
are
that's
wrong
good.
about this. Or Vmon is the most printed in level 3.
Yeah.
Whatever
I
he
can
said
jump
last
in
time.
and defend all the old force.
Defend all the old
Yeah.
slander.
stuff. Yeah, something like that. So really excited, man. Jesse, huge shout out to you, man. This is awesome. I love the changes that you guys have been making. So, and just some housekeeping real quick. If you're not following us on Instagram, jump on over. We've been growing. I'll do the square for Jesse right here for him. And then I'm leaving for a couple weeks at the middle of the month. I will be back in first week of March. So I'm going to try to get another deck profile on the channel before I go. I have a couple I'm working on. We'll see. I think one of them's pretty close to being done for sure. Well, I guess at the time of recording, there's one that we've already done.
True.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
That is not included. But you guys will do a great job, as always, filling in for me. But last week's episode, man, I watched it like 10 times. It was so good.
It was fun.
So for those of you who don't know, let's a little bit lore update. You used that term the other day. I like that one on an episode. All these guys that we interviewed last week, they're our friends. They're in our scene. They come to our locals. They hang out with us, right? Like they've been on the channel. We didn't fly them in. We didn't remote them in. We
didn't pay him to come on.
We didn't pay him to come on, man. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, so I mean, like the fact that we have this level of play in our scene, and the fact that we were able to have 3 top 64. You should have been there. Jacob should have been there. Luck has its day, though, right?
Yeah.
So, but
that's the game.
so we didn't hear enough about your experience, and Jesse brought up an awesome question. What would you say, like, the difference between that Pasadena Regionals and this Nationals event? Like, right? What were you thinking?
Well, the reason we didn't talk about my tournament performance is it was unremarkable. Going into I played Anubis as well, same list as Justin. We were going back and forth, and we play tested the most, and we were very confident in our list going into nationals. And going into the tournament, I had the 2-round bye because I placed top 16 at a regional with Crossheart, and I was X2 going into round 9, so I was 6-2, and we kind of done the math. It looked like maybe some X3s would make it into day 2.
Sure.
It turns out that was not the case. X2 won or better. And so it was pretty much like, all right, win the next 2 rounds. And it was back-to-back red hybrids, which was the matchup we were worried about.
Yeah.
And it was
That's my hate.
the round
my
9. It
hateful
was
deck right now.
it was down to the bitter end.
Yeah.
It was basically he's under ruin mode. He needs exactly Emperor Grey into Blitz Omni to win, and he had it. And so that
how do they always have it?
yeah. And then in round 10, I got completely wiped out, and it was just a brutal loss. So I ended up X4, which was just inside top 256. So I got 4 event packs for my trouble.
That's still good, man. I mean, you killed it, man.
It was a really fun event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that like experience of playing with like the country's best players.
That's what
You know
I
what
wanted
I'm
to say.
saying?
Versus the Pasadena regional,
Yeah.
the level of competition was a lot higher than I would have thought, because I figured, okay, Pasadena regional, LA Convention Center, it's similar enough. Like a lot of the people that are going that don't have 2-round buys are going to be a lot of the same people.
Yep.
I was thoroughly wrong. The level of competition was extremely high.
Yeah.
I mean, especially once that round 3 kicked off. I mean, every round at the top tables was extremely competitive. The level of deck building astonished me the most.
Yeah.
People were, I mean, Justin talked about the Black Gogmamon Uvert.
Yeah.
An amazing meta decision that a lot of the people at the top tables were playing in their purple decks pretty much no matter
It's
what.
crazy how much one card can make a difference like that, right?
The Azulong Ace and Security Control at the top list.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, we had our own security control master in house, right? Kind of understand that instantly as soon as that card came out, right?
We talked a little bit about the Jessmon GX Craniumon build. I mean, the deck building was absolutely astounding.
It's crazy because I was almost worried, right? And this was something that I was going to ask you guys whenever I got the chance. Was it all Anubis, right? Is it a tier 1 or one deck tier 0 format? And then just having all these different lists, and we'll dive into them later in the episode. Deck building really was on full display.
Yeah, and
you know?
the thing about Anubis is the closest that I have been to a tier 0 format, and remember that I started playing in BT10. The closest we had was BLX.
Yes.
At regionals, it was 8 of top 16. Pretty much every time.
Did you play when you could use all the crossheart back in BT10 when it was all legal?
I had not done an online. I had not done a big event. I'd only played at locals. So I never really got to experience
I see.
4x4, 4 Sunrise.
Yeah, because that's to me was like the strongest deck in the game.
So I don't really know what the tournament.
Yeah, BLX too, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, BLX. And the interesting thing about Anubis was it was obviously super highly represented at the national tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we saw 40% of the top 64. It was like 39.
It was under 50%.
Yeah.
Which basically, once you're above 50%, that's sort of where you get into tier 0
that's
territory.
how you define it. See, I almost think 40% I would define it as tier 0.
But the thing about Anubismon was that it was over centralizing.
Yeah.
So all of the decks were either Anubismon or good versus Anubismon.
Sure.
So one of the big surprises of the tournament was Melga had very few high placings.
Jesse and I were talking about in the episode before you guys played, right?
That's because Melga...
We were wondering.
Melga is extremely strong, but its matchup into Anubis is terrible.
Yeah.
Because of retail blockers.
Yep.
And so basically you need to either bounce the Mervamon or bounce 2 retail blockers.
And sometimes it's hard to bounce more than one thing in a turn. Like you can figure out a solution to bounce one thing, but you don't have answers to the rest of the board.
If they stagger the levels, Melga just completely folds.
Sure.
And so that was the interesting thing is like in any other format, that Metal Garurumon deck would have been top, 50% of the top tables because it's ridiculous.
Yep.
But because of the context of Anubismon, it didn't do well. And so that's why I've been kind of I've been talking with Jesse a lot about this, specifically about Machine Dramon, is that the Machine Dramon that did well at Nationals.
Do we have that list? We don't, do we?
We don't, but deck list coming soon. But basically, it was specifically tailored to do well versus Anubismon.
Yeah.
So when you're playtesting it versus other matchups, you're like, how did this do so well? It's like, well, it's specific anti-Anubismon deck. And just about every list that you'll see in the top 64 was that way.
Yeah, it was either Anubis or some sort of counter for it. I think the thing I was the most surprised about was that red hybrids didn't do as well as I thought. I kind of figured Anubis was going to the event, and we talked about it 2 podcast episodes, Jesse and I, where we kind of thought it was going to be like a 1 or 2 card difference between that really took an Anubis deck over the top, as well as the hundreds of hours of playtesting that you guys do, right? Not trying to discredit anybody's practice.
No,
but my thought process was that red hybrids is so fast, and that if they get rolling, and it's because I've been struggling against red hybrids personally at locals, and I love the deck. But sometimes whenever I see it, I'm just like, oh, here we go.
Here we go again.
And it's like you can try to come up with answers to stop the deck, but you really can't stop the hybrid Digivolution if they have Tamers set up, right? Like you can't do anything about it. And it's not like I can blast. It's not like I can set up blockers. It's not like I can give memory choke them, whatever, because they have ways around so much. So
it's a good deck.
It's a very good deck, and I kind of thought I was going to see maybe red hybrids in that finals instead of security control versus Anubis, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'm pleasantly surprised red hybrids isn't there, and it is also reassuring talking to you about this set because I was a little worried Anubis was going to make it a tier 0 format.
Yeah, and it just is a testament to how strong the players were. Is because they're like, all right, a lot of people were like, I don't really want to play the Anubis mirror 6 times in a row. And I that's sort of how I felt going in. This will not shock the loyal Basil fans, but you might gasp. Purple's my least favorite color in the game. I think
It seems like you would like that color.
it's degenerate color. It's very flowchart. Most of the good purple decks do one thing but do it very well.
Sure.
And people call it big brain.
I see.
I disagree. I think the biggest brain purple deck that they ever printed was Belfamon.
Yeah.
That's the closest to a purple deck that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But
When I was playing purple since the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember I went to the second Evo Cup with I decided to take like a Millennium on Turbo, right? Because you had BT2 Beelzemon that could warp into, from the Itmon, and I thought I was being smart. So I've been a loyal fanboy, but I kind of agree. It seems like purple has kind of gone to one direction compared to what it used to be.
You have to the deck like Beelzex.
Yeah.
You swung with the imps, they died, you milled, you did the mill effects, and then you just played the game from there. It was very simple.
I agree.
And things like that. I don't know. I think that purple has so many good cards, and they're just now finally starting to get restricted.
Yeah,
and even after the restrictions, they're still very, very good. I don't know. I have a bit of a chip on my shoulder when it comes to purple.
Yeah.
So it wasn't my favorite format for the national tournament.
Yeah.
But overall, my experience was great.
Good. I mean, it's crazy, like just experiencing the difference from Pasadena to this nationals event, right? Like we were all talking kind of beforehand. We were thinking like vendors. There was no vendors.
There was no vendors.
There
was Bandai.
There was Bandai. Which,
and if you wanted to buy a box of EX1 Classic Collection for $90,
yeah, nobody wants to pay that.
You
price.
could have done that, or you could have bought a box of RBO1 Resurgence Booster for $125.
No.
And it's like, okay,
Gogmamon's not that good. I promise. Not enough to pay
yeah, it's just
$125.
like, okay, I sure wish Core was here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's I don't know. I think we all kind of thought because we had all done the regionals together. We kind of were expecting something, and then realizing it was like a Bandai festival, which is awesome. The fact they had like the photo display set up, they had all
event,
of this cool things, right? But it's like, oh, what happens is just normal card shop buying stuff, selling things, and that's not how it was. It was interesting because I know you wanted to sell that Gallant.
Yeah, we were trying. we were trying to sell a lot of cards. We brought 2 binders full of stuff. We were trying to move.
Trying to pay
some
for your airplane tickets and Airbnb and all that.
We wanted, there was a lot of things on my wish list, which I got almost all of them.
Nice.
All those event pack cards.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get some of those 3v3 metal grays, but
those are so nice. I do want some of those too, man. But it's like I'm not paying what they're at right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully
they'll get another printing.
Yeah, hopefully they do.
But I wanted to jump into some of the lists before we move on from the
absolutely
nationals.
because we're still in the EX set, right? And so this set seems to be going really well for a lot of players, but it's such a green set at the same time as a purple set.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about this green list.
Yeah, the first
I love this list.
Green Gotcha made it into to the top 64.
Anytime a BT1 card is represented,
hell yeah,
because the Kokuwa is BT1 too, so there's 2 BT1 cards. Anytime,
and then Mimi.
The Jog 3, because Jogamon's BT1 as well.
Oh, is it?
So there's 3 BT1 cards in a top 64 list. I don't know this exact player's exact ranking, but
they lost in the first round of top 64 to another deck, which we'll talk about.
Green Gotcha has always been one of my favorite builds. I personally like it with the dual tamer more than I like it this way, but this way's has results. Jesse can attest to it.
Well,
this player can attest to it.
That's what I wanted to talk about is how remarkably similar it is to the deck list on our channel.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to, man.
That's with the Kokuamon, the Kunamon, obviously the Tortomon.
I really like
the 5s, but then also the level 6s is what has Jesse's been messing with recently. As soon as they came out with the Saber Leo and the Heavy Leo,
it's like, my God.
And so,
well, I just really like the direction they went with this, right? Because with Green Gotcha, sometimes you're worried about room, right? You're like, okay, I don't have a room for a lot of things. This is a 4-4-4-4-4 deck, except for 2 level 4s, which line up perfectly in the ratios of the 12, 10, 8 for the right 3s, 4s, and 5s.
Yeah.
But then look at the individual choices. We all agree why Kokuwa is in there because Security Tech Plus one's awesome.
And you unsuspend on both your megas.
The Kunamon's sick because, it draws cards.
Yep.
I love this Pulsemon edition. Right?
Yeah, the addition of the
extra control.
Yeah, the Pulsemon and the Sneemon, because basically the Saber Leo's piercing.
Yeah.
So if they check Sneemon or Pulsemon while you have a Jagamon or
Yeah.
a Mame Tyranno in the raising.
Yep.
You're gonna wipe the board and then go from there.
Yeah, and so the Pulsemon is great too. Like if say you brick, you're missing a level 3, it goes to hand afterwards.
Yeah,
so
as-
it's like boom. I love that Pulsemon.
and
I
then
try to figure out how to fit it in more
The
things.
the other nice thing is that again, this is an anti-Anubis list. So anytime that they're going for a game with Anubis,
Yep.
Suspend one of their retail blockers on the way, and now their lethal math is screwed up.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
and then you also have that advantage if you're suspending a blocker of theirs.
exactly.
And I mean, the Tortomon obviously makes a lot of sense, but to me, this Kuwagamon,
yeah, the promo Quagamon.
I love this card. This makes me want to build Kuwagamon X deck. Right,
Yes.
the whole plus 2K. It's only a 4 cost. It's got a great ability on his own. This card is great. These promos they gave us were awesome.
Yeah, insects in BT 15 and 16, I think could be a viable green deck once again.
Oh, absolutely, man. And then, like you said, the Sneemon, man, just another level 4 that comes out of security. Then you just Digivolve for 3 into the level 5, and you are instantly ready to go with your gotcha. So it's such an awesome idea that they did this. I think the only question, right, and I'm only questioning this because I've never seen a list do so well with 4 Mimis.
Mimi is a great card.
I know.
Mimi is so slept on.
As somebody who owns like 30 of BT1 box topper Mimis, because my wife only plays Mimi, I've played in all my green decks. It's like an amazing card. I know it's a good card. But 4? You tell me you couldn't go down to 3 and put 1 more of something in, man? Like I want to know the why.
I know the reason.
And it's only 4 eggs. Where's the 5th egg?
You want to see that Koro.
Yeah, I know you do, but
the thing about many Mimis, I used to play Grandis a lot.
yeah,
And
yeah, I play Grandis a lot. So I love that deck.
moved up to. I think I did play a full play set of the Mimis.
I went up to 3, but I never went to 4.
Because the rationale, at least in the Grandis deck, was double Mimi for game. Rather than hybrid. And
I see. So you did not play any. See, that was the difference because I always played the hybrid.
I did play hybrids as well, but it was a more consistent way to get out.
I see.
The
That makes a lot of
lethal.
sense.
But in this deck, once you go into your 6, it's still your turn because you didn't pay for the 6.
Correct.
So if you're into double Mimi, you're just going to accelerate your board state heavily because the heavy Leomon is going to control the board a lot.
Yeah.
And then once you go into the double Mimi, you can just start building another stack instantly.
Awesome list. This list is awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of awesome lists, we have got to talk about Bagra's army making it into top 64.
I
So
think
this is how I know
This had to been everybody's favorite list.
people
right?
say, Digimon is dying. This is how I know Digimon's not dying. Round 64, the round 1 on the recorded setup was Heavy Leo Gotcha versus Bagra's army.
You're like, what?
And that, it's like, okay,
is this Digital
top
Gate Studios YouTube
Yeah,
video gameplay right now? This isn't Nationals, is it?
Yeah, so this list I want to talk about specifically the promos. So that's the Skull Knight promo.
So good.
Plays your Uamano for free on deletion and Sec +1.
Yep.
And then you're just digicrossing all these new pieces up into Bagramon, and then you're just hard playing Darkness Bagramon.
I
And
love
you're
it.
just
I love
tucking
it.
stuff
I
under
love it.
stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I remember trying to build a Bagra deck, right? Just because Bagra, this is before Darkness Bagra. I really like this level 6, the removal that it has built in.
Yeah, it
because
was
I really
superior
like
mode
superior
before
mode.
superior mode.
Yeah,
Yep.
I really like what superior mode does for removal, and I was trying to take advantage of it. And ultimately, I ran out of time to get the deck profile out. Not saying I would have come up with this at all. This was not my direction.
No.
Mine was 4 Bagramon, right, and just turbo up into that. But like this is as soon as I heard that this was doing it well, that memory came back to my mind of that deck. Like,
Yes.
I get it. I know why it's doing well because it's removal that is hard to get around. Right? I mean, the one of Blastmon, it surprises me. I know why it's there. I get it, but it's like, holy crap, this list is awesome. I really like this list.
This is a masterpiece, something to behold.
This would be one, if I was this guy playing it, I'd have it altered and framed on the wall and being like,
Yes.
I'm the best Bagra army player.
So what we were walking around day 1, and there was a guy walking around asking for silver Darkness Bagramons, and I was like, "What are you doing?
Stonks right there.
What is going on? And he's like, and it was the player.
Oh,
he only
it was.
He only had one. So it was a blinged out deck. Aside
was
from his
ready to
one,
go.
he had one alt art darkness Bagramon and one silver.
Yeah, gotcha.
So in any case, a
great
hyper
cards,
consistent
man.
list.
Love it.
14 and 14, 3s and 4s, and
Well, it makes a lot of sense because you tuck. You have a lot of deletion. You have on plays and
crossed
stuff like
right
that.
up and right up into top 64 and
Yeah.
eventually top 32.
I really like this promo Skull Knight in the list. Just the fact all the cards that said if your Bagramon gets security attack +1 was early in the Nightmon stuff.
Yeah.
But you never combined the two. I did play against the people that would play some Bagra just as like a 1 of 2 of whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that was more just like cheeky than it was. Whereas
No, this is fully
it's
Bagra's
awesome,
army.
man. It is awesome. I love this list.
I do too.
What an awesome list.
The last list I wanted to highlight specifically,
People were asking about it.
was Ryan's security control.
Love this
you,
list,
you
man.
saw Ryan in the last week's episode talking about this list. We affectionately refer to this list. Well, I affectionately refer to this list as tax control. A lot
Yeah.
of people hate playing versus this
Yeah,
because it's extremely awkward.
It is.
You think
Your math gets screwed up as soon as you promote.
and
you know?
the thing about it is this is one of the prime examples of stellar deck building coming together in different instances.
Sure.
So the second place list, security control list, is eerily similar to this. Notable similarities between the two is the Azulong Ace and X Program.
Yep.
2 cards that are extremely strong to the
I love
meta.
X Program, man.
Yeah, the
It's a
X
great card.
Program,
Yeah.
a huge answer to the Anubis board.
Yep.
Once they go extremely wide with double floodgate, Anubis, Merva,
Yeah.
retail blocker, X Program kills everything besides Dobra X.
Yeah, that's
and
another
then-
one of those decks. Like I was working on something, I can't remember what it was. It wasn't security control,
Mm-hmm.
where I had bought 4 pre-release X programs when they were like $1.
Yeah.
And
That's-
they're just sitting in the top loader still because I never completed that deck.
Yeah.
Just stonks, baby. Let's just keep them going.
And then the Shadow Seraphi, a complete menace of a card. This is another great meta call. Originally, Ryan was
So
playing
nice.
Venusmon, but Venusmon is not very
That
good
is
versus Anubis.
Yeah, that is a tough call.
because Anubis is Windage Evolving and main.
I've seen Ryan do more work with Venus than I have any other player, and so it's like seeing him make that change might have been hard for him.
It was the
but
meta call of
it's
saying,
the right call.
I think I'm going to see more Anubis than Melga, and it was
Yeah.
completely on the money.
Yeah.
And then the Azulong Ace, really strong into red hybrids. So everybody knows red hybrids is quite a hard matchup for security control. That Aldemon turning off the options, using the Harrismon and the Azulong Ace to sort of mitigate that matchup.
Sure.
Just buffs your consistency right all the way to that top 64.
Yeah.
So this is an awesome list. And
Great
I wanted
job, Ryan,
to
man.
I wanted to point this out. But we do have to talk about the champ.
We have to talk about the champion.
Yeah.
This was a crazy cool list, and the first question is because I thought it was a typo. What does a Spotamon doing there, man?
Spatamon.
What is this
Shout
Legend
out
Arms?
to Spatamon.
Yeah. What's it doing
card-
there? What's it
For
doing there?
those of you who've seen the Legend Arms deck profile posted this week,
Great video, by the way.
Spatamon is a terrible card. But the reason that Spatamon is in the sequencing of the Anubis ability is it's active player.
Yeah.
So let's say we activate Anubis main. We
Sure.
pitch 3 cards to play Merva for 2.
Sure.
That activates the Anubismon ability to kill a level 5, if not draw 1.
Yeah.
Then, after all of that, the Mervamon activates, playing out 2 Digimon. In between the Digimon being played and the Anubismon activating, you can choose to activate the Spatamon. The Spatamon to tuck under your Mervamon to de-Digivolve 1, activating the Anubis to delete a level 5.
I see.
So at that point, the Spatamon...
So it's a pretty common thing in Anubis lists.
people were playing it as a one of.
I've been living under a rock when it comes to Anubis because
Yeah.
I've just been pretending.
So
like
basically,
it doesn't
the idea
exist.
is it deletes a level 6 by de-evolving it to
To
a
the
5
5.
and then killing it with the Anubis ability.
I got it. So okay, I see. I thought it was just like, is no anyone else playing Spotamon?
Yeah,
or,
people were playing it.
That makes a lot of sense.
We opted for a more consistent list in the rookies.
Yeah.
And obviously, we were playing Calling from Darkness, and this list wasn't.
Yep.
Which boggles my mind. because they have a lot of toolbox one-ofs, the
Yeah.
Leviamon, the Ruin Mode, the Death X, and you want to grab those back.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of the
you
time.
think you'd want it with Calling from Darkness, but
But obviously the huge difference in this list is the Black Gogmamon.
you think just one of is enough? I mean, well, first of all,
You
you
see,
won, so
you see,
obviously,
you see
right?
you see your entire deck in this list, which is
Yeah.
nice. Because you have the 4 boost 4 training, and then you have the 5 level 5s that say draw 2 pitch 1.
I'm a huge fan of that Lady Devi one.
Yeah.
I have been a Lady Devi follower of the BT3 one since the very beginning.
Yeah,
I
so
love
you
this.
draw a lot of cards, and then the good thing about the Black Gato as well is it's not a dead card in security.
No.
So
No, no.
basically, the idea is, for those of you who don't know, the Black Gogmamon is the biggest advantage into Leviamon decks. So Leviamon was one of the big counters to the Anubismon strategy. And so let's say we played the Black Gogmamon for
Yeah.
free off of the Anubis effect. You activate your abilities before your opponent's abilities.
Yeah.
So the Black Gogmamon will take the Leviamon in trash, put it to the bottom of your deck, and then draw one. Then, if your opponent attempts to activate Biting Crush, which says when your opponent plays a Digimon by an effect, play a Leviamon for free.
Yeah.
There's no Leviamon
There's no
in
Leviathan.
trash.
Yep.
And so that was a huge victory for
Yeah.
a tremendous deck builder.
Absolutely. I mean, this was a crazy cool list with
The
EX,
champ.
the champion. I mean, obviously, well deserved. Like,
Yes.
great job. You deserved it. But with EX5 coming to an end, BT15's right around the corner. What are your thoughts of BT15? Do you have any initial first impressions?
I do. We've actually been. I'm entered in some regionals.
Yep.
The first one is a pre-ban list regional.
Yes.
So that is full power Apocalypse. That is
that
full
one's gonna
power
be fun almost.
full
like,
power
it's like,
Anubis.
Yeah.
Full power Melga, as well as we still have the blue jamming the Bukamon.
Yep.
And let me tell you, Apocalypse is another deck that is very well deserved of its restriction. Anubismon, we already knew, is very, very well deserved for a restriction.
Yep.
Apocalypse's the same way. But I will say that there are some surprises coming for players in BT15.
Definitely.
Specifically, Numemon and Monzaimon. I think
Those
people
dudes do a lot of work.
I think people will be playing against Numemon decks at their local, and they'll say, "Wait, what does that do?" And they're gonna say that 5 times on their way to a 0-2 loss.
Yeah.
Those cards are completely ridiculous. It builds an insanely sticky board. It controls the board really well.
Yeah.
And you're just facing like 7 Numemons turn 3, and you're like, "All right,
Sure,
here we
sure.
go." So I think that's going to be the big surprise. But other than that, there's Melga stuff, there's bird stuff,
That's
there's
what I'm excited for,
there's
but
bug stuff.
Bugs would be a lot of fun.
There's
too.
SOC stuff. There's a lot of cool
Yeah.
stuff to like in this.
A lot of cyborg
in this
machine
format.
support, you know,
Yeah.
in the ways of the SOC. Like, so pre-release is coming up. It's this weekend. So very curious if people are going to not watch the Taylor Swift concert that's happening this weekend.
or the Super Bowl.
Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Obviously, you guys know I'm a sports
Is
ball
she
fan.
playing at halftime?
No.
Oh.
It's Usher,
Usher.
and it's like a combination. Usher and somebody else. I can't
I
remember,
see.
but they're gonna pan to her like 20 million times.
Yeah, probably.
Whatever. Anyways, sorry, Swifties. How many people you think are gonna be interrupted just with the sporting event happening? If Bandai could have planned ahead, maybe pushed the release out one more week and open some things. I don't know. So I know I'm not going to pre-release. And so unfortunately, guys, it's not going to be a full-on pre-release strategies. But I do want to highlight a couple cards that I've been looking at.
Sure.
Just
Go
for
ahead.
people. So I'm a big fan of, just because I'm a Tyrannomon loyalist, the 4-cost red-purple Tyranno.
Oh, the SOC Tyranno.
Yep, it's a blocker, which is really nice. Sometimes in pre-release, blockers can do a lot more than people think.
Yeah.
That was part of the weakness for me in BT13 was I had 0 blockers in my
Yeah,
deck.
those-
It was just
that
weird.
pre-release was miserable.
That pre-release was miserable, and not only did I get like the worst cards, I couldn't get a jumbo gammy. I got
Yeah,
nothing. It was-
Craniumon Jumbo Gaming.
I swear I've never
Holy
had worse
moly.
polls than when we went to that BT13 at, what was it, Red Castle or whatever.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Shout out, great shot by the way. But this one's really nice because it's a searcher as well, and a lot of times with pre-release, you're
You
kind of
need card
missing
draw.
pieces. You need card draw. So this Tyranno,
That's
I'm a
key.
big fan of. Not 100% sure if that 3-cost Evo is going to hurt people, but if you keep it as like a backup 4 where you can kind of bam.
It's on play when digivolving, right?
Yeah, and it does digivolve for 2 on a level 3 SOC. So there are ways to reduce it to a normal Evo cost. There's Luga. There is some good stuff that you could use to take advantage of that deck. That's one of the cards I want to highlight. Obviously, the aces are really interesting in this.
The aces are very nice in
right?
pre-release.
If you set up your colors correctly, the Garuda ace is kind of cool. I think the green one, the Gogmamon one is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here and looking at this card. I'm looking at BT15 Canondramon. This is a card that I've been eyeballing for a pet deck of mine, RagnaLordmon. And just because it's really interesting, because RagnaLordmon, you get benefits for every color in it. And back in one of my RagnaLordmon lists, I would play Ultimate Brachiomon, which is black-blue. This is that same idea, except you hard play it. And it has some really interesting deletion timings with end of opponent's turn and end of your turn with memory manipulation. So it could be one of those, like, you could sneak up on people with that particular card.
Any removal in pre-release
is good, especially in like big bodies. You know, like I'm not afraid to give my opponent 10 if I can clear their board with that Canondramon.
Yeah,
right. You know, there's just a lot of interesting ways to play about it. I'm a big fan of a lot of these things coming up in this set, but I honestly am not going to be able to tell you what I think of pre-release and how it's going to go because I'm just not going to be there, right? I need to make a pre-release because it's been since BT13 for me.
Yeah, we've missed a few. The BT, I always try and play in pre-releases.
Yeah.
I never win. I'm terrible in pre-releases.
Yeah,
I'm
very luck based too, right?
No, because good players win them, and I lose them all the time. I am, as they say, carried by deck building, which is fine. But BT15 pre-release will be a fun one. Lots of aces.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunities for
especially
trying to jam together some tribal stuff.
Because I was reading online, somebody was asking, because there's the ace cards with the crests on them. They're not like ghost rares.
They're low pull rates.
They're low pull rates, but they don't take the spot of an SR either, is what I heard online. Ooh. So if you get one, it's an extra SR, right? So if you're doing a 6-pack, you have a chance of getting one more SR. Could be a Metal Gray Ace, a Zodu Ace, a Lily Ace.
Yeah, if you get that
from an earlier
Ace,
set that does a lot of work. I mean, Metal Gray Ace will do a lot of work in pre-release for sure if you pull one, right? You know, like it's not. I'm not saying go out of your way to look for it, but
if you pull one, it's
not the end of the world. So it's gonna be really interesting, guys. Jump in the comments, let us know, especially after you guys' pre-release, what cards have done you the most work.
Yeah, true.
You know, and we always like pre-release because you get to use cards you may never ever use
see them again.
You know, so big fan of that, but I just can't believe BT15 is right around the corner. It feels like we just got here.
Yeah, EX5 was a short format.
Very short format. You know, maybe it's good timing on Bandai because the fact they had nationals, what do they need to drag out this format that's already been done?
Yeah.
So maybe I should give some credit to Bandai for that. But we also have some reveals.
Oh boy.
Do you want to talk about this new level 7, this big old 16K boss monster?
This is another reveal that it's kind of, well, let's read this a couple times. What's really going on here?
So I am a huge fan of all the Chaosmon stuff, and this is the where he's got too many Digicores on him and it's all over the place. So this is really interesting. DNA Digivolve from a level 6 yellow black and a green purple level 6. So I think a lot of people's first questions were, does it have to be yellow and black specifically and green purple specifically? Right. And I think we've determined that it does not have to be like that. It's either yellow or black and green or purple.
It's not Shadow Seraphi and Titamon coming together.
It
can be, I think, either or.
Sure. And then this one is Partition, which I am a huge fan of this keyword. Partition, bring out a yellow-black level 6 and a green-purple level 6. Again, probably the same ruling with one of the other colors. But when digivolving, if DNA digivolving, you may place up to 2 level 6 cards from your trash as this bottom's Digivolution cards. Then for each level 6 card in this Digivolution cards, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So you're returning at a minimum of 2 when you DNA. Yeah. And then depending on how many you tuck, right, up to 2 more, right, you can bounce 4 things to the bottom.
The bottom deck is one of the best form of removals as well.
Absolutely.
So it's super strong.
It's really good. And when people were talking about this, I heard a lot of people go, man, this is the level 7 Devas need for DNA. Yeah. And it's like, that's genius. You're so right.
The Fanglong.
Because we were talking like, oh, why would you want to use this in Devas? You want to overflow 8? Well, Partition.
Yeah,
they didn't leave the battle area. They're still there, so you're not paying the overflow as much. So that's really interesting. But This is also really interesting. I think this is the first Digimon with
Yeah,
printed security attack +3.
Yeah.
Your turn. When this Digimon has 4 or more level 6 cards in this Digivolution cards, it gains security attack +3 and piercing.
Yeah, so
he's mean, man. He's nasty.
16K, 4 checks piercing. That's pretty good.
That's pretty darn good. And you bottom deck up to 4 bodies,
you
you
bottom
know,
deck
and
4
you could just
Digimon.
go nuts. So I cannot wait to see what. First of all, I can't wait to see the alt art.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
If
we
it's-
haven't seen the
I
alt
haven't
art
seen the alt
reveals
art,
as of yet.
so I cannot wait to see that. And just cannot wait to see the types of decks people use and start building with this, because this level 7 is nutty. Love it.
All right. Well, it's my time to shine. The Legend Arms reveals that we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
And it's super interesting because this is. I really was anticipating them to take the structure deck that we have.
Yep.
And build off of that.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
basically, what these cards are is take that structure deck and bin it. We're going in a completely different direction.
Put it in
So-
the recycle bin, as BT1 Agu
That's
expert
right.
would say.
So we're gonna jump into the RagnaLordmon because I think that the 6s were already pretty good in the structure deck.
Yeah, they were really good, man. I like them.
But it basically changes the whole deck to being this hand and main sort of ability. So the first is the RagnaLordmon, which says hand or main, pay 3 to put this card as bottom source of one of your Digimon. That's level 6 or Legend Arms. De-Digivolve 1 every Digimon with as much or less DP than the Digimon you tuck under.
That's sweet.
And then gain blocker reboot.
Yep.
And then when Digivolving, one of your Digimon isn't affected by Digimon effects for the turn. As well as it is inheritable blocker while this Digimon is Ragnalord. It can't leave the battle area other than by my effects or deletion.
Are you sure that doesn't say trash 2 at the same level or
It
bottom
just
deck
says
and X
don't- it just
antibody
says
or
don't
anything like
leave.
that? Come on, I
It just
cannot
says
believe
stay there
that.
forever.
Talk about power creep, man.
Yeah,
Greymon's
this
nothing
is-
now.
This is crazy. And it's the sad thing for me is the thing that I really like about the Ragnalord structure deck
Yeah.
is that casino aspect.
Oh, me too.
The
It's so much
structure deck
fun.
rookies reveal the top card and play it. The structure deck megas
Yeah.
on Digivolving or when attacking,
Yeah.
reveal 3 and play something.
Yeah, like
but
that-
this is way stronger.
Yeah. I really
Uh,
like these like hand main effects, and this.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of BT3 RagnaLordmon, where you would tuck with Digivolve into Ragna
Yeah,
to
with the
reduce
Ragna,
the Evo cost by 3, and then it also reminds me of like the. I think everybody wanted to build a Justimon deck using Fujin, Raijin, and Sujin, where it has the hand tuck a body by
Right.
paying a memory, and then you get a good inheritable.
Yep.
So for me, this is gonna fill that niche that I'm looking for.
That's
so I'm
right.
really excited as a devout
Of course.
Legend Arms fan. I love.
So we'll
Legend
go
Arms.
into the Durandamon now. It's the same idea.
Yep.
Hand and main,
Yep.
pay 3 to tuck it, and then you delete one Digimon with as much or less DP.
Yep.
You gain raid and piercing, and then you gain when Digivolving, one Digimon may attack. As well as the inheritable then is piercing, and then while it's Ragnalord, security effects on cards don't activate.
Yeah.
It's even better than the structure deck Durandamon because it's not just options don't trigger, it's security effects don't trigger.
Yeah, it's
so that counts
Tamers.
that counts security Digimon, that counts anything. So it's just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were really waiting for like, what are they going to do with Bryway and Durandamon? And they literally just power crept it for a more consistent version of the deck.
Which is crazy because I think I agree with you that we were kind of thinking we were going to get, maybe a better level 4, maybe better level 3, right? It's just individual pieces that we'd use to upgrade the deck.
Right.
But this is better. I mean, like, obviously we got Ragnace, and
Well,
I'll let you
I was
talk
going to
about
say,
that.
let's go straight to there.
But do you use the original BT3 Ragna now more than the starter deck one? That is such a tough call because I like what you can do with all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because the 5s that we got revealed a while ago do not have inheritable end of turn DNA.
Yep.
So it's not going to be that same thing of, hard play a level 5 and then Evo into a 6 and then end of turn DNA. It's going to be different than that.
It's going to be different.
But you could also combine the two to make something like that. I mean, in any case. So let's go into Ragnalord Ace. This was kind of what everyone was holding their breath for.
Yeah.
Because, like I'd mentioned, the structure deck Ragnalord goes in any deck that has red and black.
Can I just pause for 1 sec? This just seeing a 9 cost 15K body You imagine what Jesse and I could do back in the early days of playing Mega Zoo with a 9 cost 15K.
I mean,
we played. You know what I used to do back when in the Green Mega Zoo? I'd have to play the starter deck Rosemon because it was a 10 drop, 11K.
yeah.
And I got nothing out of it. This is a 9 drop. This is insane to me.
Yeah, and it's on play and when Digivolving
It's like,
as
I'm
well.
just going to bring back Mega Zoo and play 4 of this. Let's go, dude. Stop me.
But the important thing right off the bat is how Blast DNA works. So
Yes.
Blast DNA says you have a Durandamon or a Bryway Ludramon on the field.
Yep.
They attack. They resolve all their when attackings, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're not affected by Digimon effects anyway. Then, after their attacks effects resolve, you can take a Durandamon from hand and DNA.
Yeah.
It's super
You're
strong.
like, what?
So now we have Raid, Reboot, Blocker, Piercing. We have On Play and when Digivolving, trash the top security of your opponent. And this Digimon isn't affected by opponent's effects, end of sentence, until the end of your opponent's turn. So that's options as well as Digimon.
Mega Zoo, baby. This is what's
Then
going in.
if DNA Digivolving, once again, DNA Digivolving, or de-Digivolving one of everything, and then delete a Digimon with no restriction.
To me, it seems like the overflow cost is not enough.
Yeah, they
Right?
should overflow.
It's only overflow 5, which yes is a lot, but it seems like it should be overflow 6.
It's like, how are you getting rid of this?
How are you getting rid of it? It's
How are you
insane.
getting rid of
It's-
this?
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of this card. I'm gonna find some fun ways to play this, and I also
It does specify you have to DNA
onto Duranda or Briary. And
only when Blast Digivolving.
yes, exactly.
So-
So I think it's really interesting too, just when you're talking about the counter of this, right? Because you know, it's probably more likely you have one of these 6s on the board and the other 6 in hand than it is you having both level 6s on board. But you couldn't blast that way unless you use one stack and then something from your hand. So it is kind of interesting how they specified the whole blast
Yeah, the new,
kind of counter. You can't just, I'm going to take my 2 stacks and quickly blast
yeah,
them.
the new deck basically says build a giant level 6, and then when they try and deal with it, go into a 7.
Boom. Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
That's insane, man. This card is so cool.
Now we'll get into the bad news.
Okay.
I was crying and praying and shouting to whoever would listen for Legend Arms memory boost.
Absolutely.
But instead, we have Inheritance of the Legendary Sword and Shield, which I love the name.
It's a great
It's
name.
very nice.
It's a great name.
And it's a delay option, but it doesn't gain any memory.
You're like, seriously?
It says, while you have a Digimon with Legend Arms, ignore the color requirements. So thank you for finally doing that.
At least we did get like
Could have
aimed
used
something
that
new,
on
right?
Legend Arms Alliance, but whatever.
Yeah.
It says main, you tuck a Legend Arms Digimon from your trash to one of your Digimon, and then you set it to battle area. Then, all turns when a Digimon would leave the battle area, activate its delay, which is play a Legend Arms Digimon from that Digimon's sources.
Yeah.
So here's how I kind of see this going. Turn 2, we promote a Spadamon or a Tia or a Ludamon or a Zubamon. We play this. We tuck a Bryway Ludramon or a Durandamon, and then we pass the turn. And it's like, okay, kill my 1K rookie.
Yeah.
Level 6 on the board.
Boom.
And then from there, we're activating main, tuck something, and we can just build a stack that way.
It's awesome.
It's basically like playing Digimon in reverse, which is really cool.
Yeah. I mean, my only complaint about all this Ragna support is why am I replaying through Cyber Sleuth right now? And I can only be Durandamon in the game. No Ragna, no Bryway Ludramon, none of those lines. It's a great game, and I have just been having the itch for a new Digimon game so bad. I restarted that game, and I'm like sitting there like just wondering.
You've lost me.
Why can't I play Ragna in the game, man? Come on.
I don't
need
have
a new game. I need Ragna. I want a ginormous shield. I want to see him in his full glory.
I don't have the answers for you, Jen.
Love this Ragna stuff. It's awesome. It's really awesome, man. This is really cool.
Well, let's have one more card we want to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Because you want to be the bearer of bad news.
Bearer of bad news. Mega Digimon Fusion's probably not going to come back. Instead, you're going to get Mega Digimon Synthesis.
Yeah.
While your opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon, you may ignore this color's requirements.
It's a white
card, white option card that costs 4. Which is 4 is always an interesting number in Digimon because sometimes it's hard to keep it your turn when you have 4,
true.
right? Main, one of your level 6 Digimon and a card in your hand may DNA Digivolve into a level 7 Digimon card in your hand. So this is like triggering that blast, but for everything else that does DNA or whatever, right? So to me, I mean, obviously it's very specific. You have to DNA Digivolve into a level 7, but for my Hawkmon Armor Rush deck, right? There's been times where I'm just like, man, you know, like, let me just get the stack going. I got one level 6 and let me just play this option and bam, I'm at the Ragna, right? Or whatever.
Well,
so it does a lot. It's crazy.
So here's the good news about this card. It's only playable in a deck with a very strong draw engine.
I agree.
Because it's -2 in the hand, which is kind of crazy because you have to play this. You have to use the level 6
From your
and the
hand
level
and
7.
the level
So it's
7
3
from your hand.
cards to draw 1 because you evo when you DNA.
Absolutely.
So it is quite it's a resource quite expensive card.
Sure.
The bad news is a level 6 Digimon on your opponent's board is now threatening a free level 7
Yep.
or a 4-cost level 7 rather.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like does that even do I
But
even
it's-
care?
there's
it's
not-
like so
yeah,
strong.
I don't know, man. This is crazy because I don't know how I feel about this card yet. The artwork of the card is the Ultimate Chaosmon.
Yes.
Right. So
That might be the intended design.
So that's what I'm thinking, right? Are we eventually going to get more like next set, right? Whatever BT 17 is after EX6? I can't remember off the top of my head. Are there going to be more specific of that Chaosmon line?
Yeah.
You know, a new Bancho, a new Darkdramon, a new, because Kentoris and Chaosmon Valderarm, I believe, are the 4 that Digivolve into the Ultimate Chaosmon, right? Is there going to be
Thank goodness you're here, by the way.
not
Jesse
just
and
here
I
for the
could
good
not have
looks.
done that.
Anyways, too much of my life. So it's going to be really interesting to see because, like, right now I see this card and I'm just like, what are you going to really play this in? You know, I have a hard time picturing exactly because, we just talked about the Ragna Ace and Mastamon Ace does a very similar thing. So it's like you already have the ability to blast. What are you going to, I guess that does give you the ability to do that blast on your turn instead of countering if, your opponent's trying to play around it. But it just feels like this card is not going to be used that much.
Well,
but it's so early. It's hard to tell.
At the time of recording, here is, I'm pretty sure, the full list of level 7 DNA Digivolve Digimon.
Yep.
EX4 Omnimon Alter S, both Ragnas, both Examons, or Dynamon. I think that's the full list of level 7 DNAs.
I think so. I think you're right.
So the one that obviously sticks out is Structure Deck Ragnaloardmon.
Yep.
So the first thing that I saw people playing, theory crafting, was Ancient Greymon into Ragnalord. So you build a big Ancient Greymon stack, do all of your checks, and then play this Ragnalord for game.
So what
Why you guys got to put Grace Nova in the corner?
Oh, Grace Nova.
Grace
God.
Nova?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm thinking
jeez.
a lot about Grace Nova these days.
What if this is actually really good for Grace Nova and that's
Could
what
be.
it's for?
You only have
maybe
to
maybe
build
that's
one
what
stack.
it's for. But I mean, okay.
Pretty good.
The only question I have, right, with the Ancient Grey deck, right, because I think I saw the same post you did or whatever, where people were thinking about that, right? Why wouldn't you just use Blitz Omni? Blitz Omni does the same thing, right?
Because
the whole...
Ancient Greymon isn't going to do 5 checks a lot of the time. It's going to do 3 or 4.
Oh, it's going to get you right down to
the
1 or 2 left. I
Ragnalord
see.
trashes the last one and then Blitz.
I see. Oh, I see.
So I think the big worry for me with this card is someone's going to develop a very degenerate OTK with this deck.
Sure.
This is going to be like, it's going to be the same, or like Gaiomon.
Yeah.
Gaiomon swing, all their
Yeah.
checks.
What's nice about the
and then this for
BT4
game.
Ancient Grey is that it doesn't have protection. Right? If you can give it protection with the Greymon X antibody, because Ancient Grey is a Greymon, not Burning Grey, not to get that crap out of here. And you could probably use the other X antibody, the one that lets you tuck an X antibody if you wanted to for protection. Right, but it's not immune to effects. It's not immune to kill spells, right? So it's not like it's
There's going to
be a way. Sure,
someone is going to break this card, and I'm
sure.
very worried. On a less serious note, people were thinking of Galactimon building a stack with Galactimon with 20 Vemmons, and then playing this to DNA into Ragnalord to trash 40 security and kill every Digimon that's ever existed.
That's
I don't
amazing.
know. That's a crazy card.
The best part about this EX set, I think people thought were going to be the Demon Lords, but it just turns out it's all the Ragna support.
Yeah.
What more could we possibly ask for? So, and I like that they've been staying pretty unified with the colors, with the kind of the theme and everything, and makes Ragna got some pretty good pieces. It's awesome. Something I never thought I would hear happen.
I'm stoked.
But it's crazy, man. I think we gotta, because we're about to go to locals. We're about to rec shop. Stay tuned to the Discord to see the event update and all that stuff. So we gotta end this. We gotta end this with cards of the week.
Sure. You want to go or me?
You know what? I'm gonna go first, just because it came from you. So, thank you, by the way, so much. So my wife stopped playing about EX3. She played with the Hydramon a little bit. Bloom Lord was her favorite deck. And she
good
took
taste.
Very good taste. Very good taste. You could. So she stopped playing. She just a bunch of things came up. Kind of lost interest for a sec, and I think she's been seeing how much fun I've been having. Like it's just been a good year for the Digimon. I feel like, and I've been like revitalized at home. And she's like, "Where are you getting some of that positivity? Let me get some." You know. And she's like into Digimon now, so she's like, "Rebuild me my Bloom Lord." So I just turned over to my buddy Basil here, and I was like, "I'm copying your list, right? Because it's really good." So I've been playing basically all your green decks this last week and a half. I built your Bloom Lord, I built your Diarbit, and I built your Rosemon.
Those are all heaters.
And the idea is that you and my wife seem to have a very similar play style with how you guys like to play and stuff like that. And, she loves the flowers and the fairies and stuff, so it's perfect for her.
Yeah.
So Bloom Lord, right, she's playing Bloom Lord, and I'm like, well, I don't want to just completely destroy her with Hawkmon Armor Rush where you just don't even know what's happening, right? Or something like that. So I started off easy. But, I also took advantage. I was like, let me learn how to play Rosemon Burst Mode, because I've only ever really played Ravemon Burst Mode, and I love Ravemon Burst Mode. And I'm sitting there playing this deck, and I'm like, why is this working so good? It's so easy. Everything just, first of all, stop what you're doing, pause this episode, come back, rewatch it again. Let's get those view counters up. But go watch that Rosemon deck that Basil did. Like 2 months ago?
Yeah,
something
it
like that?
was in BT. There was an update in 14.
Yeah, there was an update in 14, and I think there's going to be maybe some sort of weird update coming up in
we're going to do
15.
a Rosemon X is coming.
I think you can do 2 of that. But anyways, so I'm sitting here playing this deck, and it's just like popping off. Like all my Yoshinos are coming out for free, and it's from this card, the Lilamon.
It's not Lilymon, it's Lilamon.
So this is my card of the week, is Lilamon. When digivolving, just play Yoshino, right?
Yep.
And
no restriction.
It's crazy how if you play a deck that has Tamers, if you don't have cards that play them for free, you're just behind. You're just turns behind. And so not only, I'm used to dealing with Ravemon Burst Mode, where the level 4 says, if you don't have Keenan, play Keenan. You're going to have at least one Keenan. This one does not specify. You could stack 4 Yoshinos, and those do so much good when they're stacked. And I'm also a big fan
Yoshino's another one of those setters that doesn't feel to have 2 or 3.
Yeah, because you gain the memory back when you digivolve, right? It's really, really nice. Great card. And I've just been having so much fun with this deck, and I've been having so much fun with this card, especially with the security tech +1. Like, it takes me back to EX1 Lilymon, because my wife played that too. She'd love that card. So it's just such a great level.
That card might make it back into the
It's a
Rosemon,
great card.
right?
Some of those EX1 stuff are a little bit sneakers, I'm almost wondering if I take EX1 Hercules Gabuterimon and put that in Bugs next set, because it's like +1 for every insect. Could you imagine? Like X antibody insects into a huge Hercules. Anyways.
Now we're cooking.
Anyway, so we're just this is our cooking session now, right? Next level deck over here. Anyways, so that Lilamon, man, great choice. I love the way you built these decks, and thank you. Well, thank you for letting me steal those lists.
Thank you. Well, my card of the week is one that I cannot believe has not been a card of the week yet.
You'd be surprised what we do here at this channel.
For those of you who don't know, for those of you who are newer to the channel, you know me as being on the channel a lot. I started as a fan.
Yeah, you did.
I have watched every episode of Two Tamers Talk, and I actually have an Excel spreadsheet of every card of the week.
I love it, man.
And I was looking through it the other day, and I was like, Ukomon has never been a card of the week? How is that possible? I was at the locals the other day, and I was talking about one of the decks I'm working on is King Sukamon.
Yep.
It's a deck that I've been working on. I think I'm almost there. It's almost coming to the channel.
Stay tuned, channel.
And I play Ukomon in it because I think that Ukomon is very good. And I was talking with some of the guys at the locals, and they're like, "Why are you playing Ukomon? It's not a Chumon. It has no inheritable, et cetera, et cetera." And I was telling them, I think you could take any deck and take out 2 of your worst rookie and replace them with Ukomon,
Ukos, yeah.
and your deck is way better.
I don't disagree with that take,
Ukomon
man.
is an
I really
insane card.
Yeah.
It's getting another Ukomon that has even more synergy in future sets.
Yeah.
I think Ukomon is so good that I think eventually we could see a potential restriction.
That's how I feel about that card.
I think
Yeah,
Ukomon
yeah,
could go
yeah.
to 1 before you know it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even be surprised by that. So
Yeah.
Ukomon, a card that goes in every deck. Just give it a try.
It's a really good card. For me, it hasn't been my card of the week because I don't like those meta answers. You know, that's just my like bad ego, you know, so that's why it's not in mine. But it's a really good card, man. And like for me, seeing you guys at locals and everybody at locals taking advantage of this Ukomon, especially like red hybrids taking advantage of it. That, you know, that's part of the reason why I thought red hybrids could win the event was how strong it gets with Ukomon.
With the Ukomon.
You know,
And the reason Jesse hasn't put it in any of his decks because he didn't like the movie.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. That's yeah.
All right, Mr. Studio.
So we got, this is like I said, 3 Tamers talk this week. Jesse, jump on in. You get a card of the week.
I get a card of the
You get a card of the week. You get a card of the week. Everyone gets a card of the week.
Yeah, kind of going to shout out to that green gotcha list, man. I've been having a lot of fun with Heavy Leo, so that's going to be my card of the week. This card is
beautiful
insane.
card.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't played gotcha yet, play it. It's fun. It's kind of
Absolutely.
a value deck, even with a really good top end. The top end is cheap. Basically,
or Jeff's Leomon deck.
yeah.
It's good too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But with green gotcha, you're really looking for you're not looking for win attackings because you're not attacking with the 6. So you can throw all those cards out the window. So you're basically looking for the best Win Digivolving you can find.
Yeah.
And if you can find a Win Digivolving and an end of attack on the same card, it's Christmas.
It's
Basil
like I
would
can't
say.
believe they gave that. Yeah, because when you do swing, right, you're missing that when attacking trigger.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's
But the attack ends. It's the
Yes,
same idea with
it's like-
the Grandest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I
this
love it.
thing is insane. It's got black on it, so it de-digivolves,
And-
which is
and it's like a-
still crazy in this format. And it bottom decks a 6,
Yeah.
and then at end of attack, it bottom decks a 4. If it doesn't, unsuspend,
Yeah.
swing again.
Jesse,
and it's
how long-
13K.
How long, Jesse, till we get like a heavy Leo mat over on that wall over there?
Ooh,
Because
we can do it.
you and me both as for Power Rangers fans, you can't tell me Heavy Leo does not remind you of a badass Megazord.
It does. it
Right?
does.
Like it needs we need a mat on that wall of that because
Yeah, it is. It's an insane card. So that's my card of the week. I'm having a ton of fun with it, and and it has Fortitude.
I was gonna say, even if you kill it,
yeah.
welcome back.
I love Fortitude. Like it's my favorite keyword right now. Partition might take it, but Fortitude is my
is
favorite
tremendous.
keyword.
And if you're a Zubagon fan, it's still a 13K. So
Bang.
hits you in the teeth.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this whole EX5 is just tons of green, a lot of great level 6s. You basically, it just feels like that Heavy Leo can go in almost any green deck at the moment. It's awesome.
Seriously.
Stay tuned to the channel. There is a green level 6 we haven't talked enough about that will be featured in a deck profile coming very, very soon. Not
True.
exactly sure the recording schedule, but I think you guys are going to love it.
True.
A lot of unique ideas. Again, jump in the comments. Let us know how your guys' pre-release goes this weekend. We wish you all the best of luck. We want to know what cards or just like surprised you during this pre-release. And guys, hold on your pants. We're almost at BT 15. Let's go. Woo! And see y'all next week. Thank you.
We gonna